Okay, what is the Islamic dilemma? In simple terms, the Quran affirms that both the Torah and the Injil, aka the Gospels, are true. But the Torah and the Injil does not say the Quran is true. If you read the Bible, you can see the theology just does not match. The Muslims will say, prove it. Okay, fine. All we have to do is go to Quran chapter 2, verses 2 through 5. This is the book, there is no doubt about it, a guide for those mindful of Allah who believe in the unseen, establish prayer, and donate from what we have provided for them, and who believe in what has been revealed to you and what has been revealed before you, and have sure faith in the hereafter. It is they who are truly guided by their Lord, and it is they who will be successful. Now, what was revealed before, you may ask? Well, the Muslims will admit it's the Torah, the Psalms, and the Injil. And here you can clearly see their God is saying that they will not be truly guided by Allah and they will not be successful if they do not follow all of Allah's revelation. Well, if that doesn't work, which probably doesn't, they'll ask for more verses. Well, good thing the Quran tells you to believe in the previous scriptures all over the place. Just give them Quran chapter 4, verse 136. O believers, have faith in Allah, his messenger, the book he has revealed to his messenger, and the scriptures he revealed before. Indeed, whoever denies Allah, his angels, his books, his messengers, and the last day has clearly gone astray. Quran chapter 10, verse 94 points you back to the previous scriptures to clear up doubt. If you are in doubt about what we have revealed, then ask those who read the scriptures before you. The truth has certainly come to you from your Lord, so do not be the ones who doubt. Why would Allah say this? Say, O people of the book, you have nothing to stand on unless you observe the Torah, the gospel, and what has been revealed to you from your Lord. And your Lord's revelation to you will only cause many of them to increase in wickedness and disbelief. So do not grieve for the people who disbelieve. So wait a minute. He's telling people in 4:136 that anyone who denies his books has gone astray. Then he turns around and says they have nothing to stand on unless they observe the Torah and the gospel and what has been revealed to you from your Lord. This is crazy. So it sounds like he's saying, believe in all of my books. All of my books are true. Why would Allah say this? 7:157 says, those, the ones who follow the messenger, the unlettered prophet, whose description they find in their Torah and the gospel with them. So wait a minute. Not only is he telling you to believe in it and believe in all of his books, now he doubles down and says, Muhammad's actually in it too. And this is something that they have with them, which would mean in the 7th century, Muhammad is pointing to something tangible that he is in. It's all corrupted, is what the Muslim will probably say, but what they don't realize is that makes it worse. My opponent is probably going to say the Torah, the Injil, and the Psalms are corrupted, but nowhere does Allah ever in this Quran claim that his books are corrupted. He tells you to believe in them. He also tells you that you can find Muhammad in it. And he also tells the people who have the book, as it says in chapter 4:136, that if they disbelieve in the books, they have gone astray. Now, for some odd reason, the Muslims take all these verses and conclude that Allah is referring to his books as corrupted, but they never provide a verse. At the same time, they overlook a verse like chapter 2, verse 85, where it says that Allah sends people to hell for cherry picking his scriptures. Ask yourself, if Muhammad was mentioning these scriptures in the 7th century, then that means they must have existed prior to his birth. What is he referring to? Where can we find it? What physical manuscript evidence do we have of these texts that were in the hands of Christians and Jews? This is where it gets problematic for Muslims because they often use what we have and then disregard it right after. But the problem is that this argument does not help, especially when we have information like this. First, we need to establish where were the Gospels written. Okay, so 1st century AD, 52 100 AD. We have Mark all the way up here in Rome at the top left, 65 through 70 AD. We also have John all the way down here in Ephesus. And then we also have Matthew all the way up here. Now, you're going to ask yourself, why is this important? Because we're going to get to the spreading of the Gospels. Pay attention. This is where it gets tricky. We literally have the Gospels spread all the way to Britain, Gaul, Spain, Italy, the Byzantine Empire, Egypt, Alexandria, Jerusalem, Armenia, Georgia, Syria, Damascus, Persia, India, all by the 6th century. Let's go ahead and read some of these facts. Where the Gospels had spread by the 6th century? Greek, Latin, Western Church, Syriac, Coptic, Egypt and parts of Africa, Armenia, Georgian, and Ethiopia. Key points by the 6th century. The 4 Gospels were accepted in the Christian canon and used in worship, teaching, and copying throughout the Christian world. Multiple translations existed: Greek, Latin, Syriac, Coptic, Armenian, Georgian, Ethiopic. Christianity had reached Europe, North Africa, the Middle East, the Caucasus, and parts of Asia. Examples of manuscripts from the 4th through the 6th century: Codex Vaticanus, 4th century, Codex Sinaiticus, 4th century, Syriac Peshitta, 5th century, Coptic Gospels, 5th century, Armenian Gospels, 5th to 6th century, Ethiopic Gospel, 6th century. Now, how do we know, you may ask? Well, good thing that we can tie a manuscript to its original location based on the language that it was written in. Here we have a 4th century manuscript of John. The language Old Latin allows us to place this in Western Roman Empire. Here it says, the image shows folio 196, verso on the left, and 181, recto on the right. The recto contains the beginning of the Gospel of John, as in some other Greek and Latin manuscripts of the period. Here we have pre-6th century Syriac Gospel, the Peshitta, year 548, which allows us to place the manuscript in the Persia and Mesopotamian area. Here we have one found in Egypt, in Coptic, the Gospel of Matthew. These outdate Muhammad by hundreds of years, the 3rd and 4th century. Now, you're going to ask yourself, why does that matter? Why would that matter? Well, because Muslims like to tell us that the Gospels are corrupted. Well, they're going to have a problem proving that case. Here it is. Let's see where Egypt is. You guys see it on the map? Way down here. Where's Western Europe? Way up here. Where's Persia? Way over here. These places are miles away from each other. Why does that matter? How did all these Gospels become corrupted simultaneously? When did it begin, and how did it align with other Gospels? How could so many Gospels become corrupted at the same time? When did this process start? And how did it all align with other Gospels that were written and transmitted to various regions across the map? Would you like to take a guess at how long it would have taken to travel to each location back in the day? Western Europe to Egypt, 2 to 4 months by land, 2 to 4 weeks by sea. Western Europe to Syria, 3 to 5 months by land, 3 to 5 weeks by sea. I'm sure you can do the proper calculations for every other distance you would like to calculate. Do you see the problem? Now, even if I granted him that someone had a manuscript in Egypt and decided to alter that a little bit, that does nothing to the Gospels that are in Persia, and it does nothing to the Gospels that are in Western Rome. So they cannot argue mass corruption, and they have to find out where it started and whether this took place with all of the books, in which we can see the books are in unison in theology. Therefore, their argument falls flat. Issue he must resolve. Now, if he says that his book is talking about our books that he is most likely going to reject and take in part, like his book tells him not to do, then he's going to have to first establish what scriptures are being referred to when they are mentioned over and over again in his Quran and are said to be authoritative because God is telling you to believe in those books. Now, when he comes to these books, he's going to have to justify how different specific passages literally make Muhammad a false prophet. He cannot instantly go into conscious edits. He cannot instantly claim corruption without verifying or proving and establishing that the specific verse we are dealing with is corrupted and distorted or changed. If the argument for conscious edit is used, he is going to have to provide real evidence without placing Allah in the picture to establish how Muhammad knows what is in scripture before he is able to refute it as false. He also needs to provide an example of Muhammad directly claiming something is in scripture, and here is the true retelling of the story. Here we can see in Luke 1, Zechariah could not speak for the entire term of the pregnancy. And in the Quran, Zechariah could not speak for 3 days and 3 nights. This is a clear contradiction in the retelling of the story. Muhammad made an error. Muslims, you have to figure this out. Here you can also clearly see that in the Bible, in Exodus, Aaron was the one who built the golden calf, and in the Quran, Aaron does not build the golden calf. So if Muhammad is saying the Torah is true, well, the Torah says Aaron built the golden calf. So you have a problem. But in the Quran, it says someone else built the golden calf, not Aaron. So here you can see Muhammad's ignorance is being exposed. If God is telling him to uphold the Torah as truth, then his God should know what is in those scriptures. Therefore, he cannot be talking to God because God would not tell him to say the Torah is true, while at the same time knowing the content in the Torah contradicts Muhammad and what he's about to say out of his mouth. Here's another example. In Genesis, you can clearly see that Joseph's brothers pull him out of the pit and sell him to the travelers. In the Quran, the travelers arrive at the pit, a water boy is sent to go get some water, and the bucket hits Joseph, and he acts like it's a great find, and they took him secretly as merchandise. I think you get the point. Why would God tell you a book is true if the content within it is not? Welcome to the Islamic Dilemma. I'm excited to hear my opponent's position. Thank you.